Game on the line. Williams lofting one for a deuce. He caught
it! You're listening to the world's #1 football podcast. Now, here are your hosts, Ben Hansen, Matt Hartman, and Ryan Matthews.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Pigskin Project, the second half of our off-season takes. I'm excited to dive into it. We've got a couple extra things. We're going to preview next week's show, and then we're bringing back an older segment that we haven't done in a while. So I'm looking forward to that as well. Gentlemen, how are we doing? Matt, start with you.
Ryan, I'm doing great. My favorite week of the year, the schedule release. I cannot contain my excitement every single time when we get to announce 200 games that are not going to be played for 3 months. I cannot wait. But 4 months, actually. Wait. Yeah, 4 months.
Yep.
So
I saw a concept on Twitter to where somebody, and this would never happen because of ticket sales, but
you just wait.
Yeah, you wait and reveal who your team's playing the morning of, or not even, you just turn on the TV and you have no idea. So it's I wouldn't know when Bears Packers is until kickoff, basically. I think that's so cool, but
it'd be awful.
It's so
It'd be insane.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun. It was just I think what would come with that is you can't be on social media because it's everybody's talking about it, and you have to stay away from football, and borderline TV actually, But
I'll do you one better. Just completely mute everything, so you don't know at all what the Bears are doing or what anyone's doing. Season starts. It's week 3. Matt Stafford's hamstring gets ripped off the bone, and you're like,
"Oh my god!"
They took Ty Simpson in the first round with the 14th pick. What is going on?
Oh, I've seen that concept where it's you have no idea who your team has in the offseason. And it's
and who they get rid of too. Where is Kevin Byard? Who's this Colson Loveland kid? He's kind of cool. Well, what about Colton?
The secret draft.
Yeah, that takes place in a bunker somewhere. Ben, how are you doing, brother?
No, I am doing great. As the next 2 months go along, you guys will see boxes just slowly stacking up until you can't see anything. We're in the process of a move, but I'm doing great. Excited to talk some football. Excited to be a hater. I try not to be a hater unless it's on the Bears or the Eagles. So I'm excited to lead into it a little bit here in this episode.
I'm excited to start hating on the Saints. Not today, but eventually they'll be good enough to hate on them. It's going to be awesome.
It's a lot of optimism.
That's what everybody says. Everybody's just waiting for the Saints to be good to hate on them.
Hate on them.
So, as far as the schedule release goes, because Matt had brought that up, we're going to talk about a few games that have been announced, and then the rest of them we have a fun concept for next week. So. Let's go ahead and talk about these games, and then Matt, I'll let you kind of preview next week's show and tell the people what we're doing.
So, as everybody knows, the international games have been released, and so I thought, what better way than just to throw them on here? You guys have seen them. Is there any particular ranking 1 to 3 of these games that you guys think? Because I don't think there's a bad game here. Truly, if you want to, the Falcons are here, so that's kind of a bad game. But overall, I thought we got some pretty good games. The Eagles faced the Jaguars in London again. Did you know that, Ben? This is they're facing in London again, so they're avoiding Jacksonville again. I saw that was something around on social media, but yeah, these are the games. There's not many ways to talk about these. I think it's fun that the Saints are hosting in Paris, the first Paris game. But do you guys have a ranking of these, a top 3?
Yeah, I'll start in no particular order. I'll say Niners Rams is one of them. Ravens Cowboys is another one for me, and then I'll say Patriots Lions. And I'll even say an honorable mention is Vikings Niners as well. But yeah, I think it's a good slate. I mean, Matt, I believe it was you that mentioned it in our group chat earlier. They're taking it seriously. We have a pretty awesome slate this year. It's not like these throwaway games that nobody wants to wake up at 9 o'clock in the morning to watch.
Mhm.
Like these are games that, you know, I mean, I'm excited strictly because like you're gonna give me a reason to wake up. You know
Well,
what I mean?
they
Like
did right this year. They took the Jets away. All right, remember the Jets game last year? That I
Ugh.
think that left a ring like a stain on the London games a little bit. So they did them well
I
this year.
mean, look at the slate. I can honestly say that there isn't a team playing internationally that will not
It's bad.
compete for their division.
Yeah.
Like every
Mm.
single one of these are division contenders in their own right. And I think that's really exciting. Maybe the Steelers exclude them now that I'm seeing that.
No,
But like, I mean,
they
who's their
won it
quarterback?
last year.
I
Rodgers.
Yeah.
mean, I is a
The,
three team race again. I
the
don't know.
Falcons too. Falcons too. No, as you guys said, I think all of the games are great. The Melbourne game I think is going to be awesome. Again, missed opportunity for it to be the Eagles. I know the Eagles are down the pipeline. It makes sense though that it is like the California teams because they're going to be like the teams that have to travel the least for that. So it makes sense. But like that's gonna be a battle. Like opening it up week one in like in division team. It's gonna be great. I'm really interested in how this Rio game is gonna go because the turf there has been awful the past couple of years. So we will see if it gets any better as the time goes on. But again, as you guys had said, the schedule here is just gonna be fantastic. And again, it sounds like they're taking it a little bit more serious here.
I'll tell you what, I mean, in spirit of the show, I'll be a hater here and say I'm really not a fan of the divisional matchups being played overseas. I really think that that sucks. So Niners Rams, it's going to be an awesome matchup. I'm excited for it, and that's why I put it in my top three. But again, I'm not a fan of that one or
So okay,
Houston Jacksonville. That's
I
just
think
not.
you
here's my
should. I think
argument.
you should grow. It grows the game.
My argument is the Niners fans are going to fill up the Rams stadium regardless. So I think you're giving more of a neutral effect for the like that benefits the Rams to me. And then kind of the same thing to Jacksonville where I think Jacksonville is more of a brand in London, so technically they would be the home team, right? So like the two
Yeah.
division games, I saw this going around, so like I prepared a statement, I guess. But I think that those two games specifically, like those divisional matchups work in the favor of the like classified home teams, in my opinion. You know,
I mean, I'm gonna look at this really quick.
because those
For
Niners and
month,
Rams games were like the Niners
Oh my
fans would like
goodness!
fill
Take
that
over.
stadium. Yeah,
I mean, am I crazy to say that I would rather watch San Francisco and LA on Monday Night Football than Kansas City and Denver week one?
I mean,
I think they're both good games.
yeah, they're both good.
Maybe they're bringing it overseas specifically to draw more eyes because this is a must-watch matchup. But I'm sitting here thinking like, man, like I mean, luckily we get two of these matchups, and I guarantee you the other one will be on prime time as well. But um, yeah, I don't know. I think it's a fun slate altogether, and yeah, for once I'm actually excited about it. Normally, this time, when they would announce these, we all just kind of roll our eyes, like maybe one or two solid matchups.
Hmm.
This is awesome. We're gonna watch some playoff football overseas, so good for the rest of the world, I guess.
All right, we move on. Before we get into the off seasons, there is news to cover. We had some We had plenty of teams make signings late in the process. We're where should I start? Should I go chronological order, Ben?
Yeah.
All right. We'll start with the first one. Juwan Jennings signs with the Vikings. I think it's 1 for 8 with a max value of $13 million with incentives. Again, I mean, he's such a good player at that price. When you think about some receivers like who are getting paid, I'm just gonna look up the receiver cap right now and talk about like Josh Palmer's getting $10 million. Dontavian Wicks is getting $10 million. Jalen Naylor signed a contract extension, 3 for 35. And so, like,
How
in
should
theory,
Jahan
someone
Dotson get?
they lose Naylor, get Jennings for less money, who's a much better player. So, very fascinated with Juwan Jennings. I think every football team gets better with Juwan Jennings on it, personally, with his skill set. There's not many ball-winning ex-players like him.
Yeah, no. For the value, it truly does not get any better than that. It sounds like he wanted more money. It sounds like a lot of teams, just for some reason or another, were not willing to give him the money he was seeking. So, I mean, it hints the 1-year deal that he was signing, and he's like, all right, I guess we're gonna prove it, and we'll go and see, if we can hit the market next year and get a bigger bag than what we already did. Again, $13 million at the most. You can't beat it. The question here is like, does this open up the door for Jordan Addison to finally be traded? Because it feels like we've been talking about this forever. And it's just like one of those under the radar things where everyone's like, the Vikings might be getting rid of Jordan Addison.
They didn't pick up his option, so it's definitely on the table.
Yeah. So, but
I mean, I was a huge fan of this signing. I've got him in our dynasty league as well. So, I thought as soon as it happened, I'm like, first off, why did this take
great
so
weapon
long?
for JJ McCarthy.
Yeah. Okay. I was just thinking to myself that like there should have been other teams at this price tag. Like if this is really what it's going to be, I mean, the first team that comes to mind is the Patriots. You know what I mean?
Well, come on.
But I mean, I understand that the deal is basically in place, but I'm just saying, like, if
they also signed Dobbs, they're fine.
I would have. I mean, still, but there's other teams. I mean, we were just talking about the Commanders last week, and how there was potential for the Commanders to get him, and I feel like maybe there should have been something there. But my point still stands. There are other teams that should have been in on Juwan Jennings, and it just makes it that much more of a headache for fans like me who have to, deal with this in the, in the division, an already competitive division. And to be honest with you, the Vikings, I strongly believe that they're going to be a really good team next year because of the quarterback position, and helping him out is even better. I strongly believe in Kyler Murray for the Vikings, and I will stand on that likely for the rest of the offseason. But giving him more weapons is absolutely helping. And when you have a big three of Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and Juwan Jennings, it's fun. It's a fun offense. How could you not look forward to that? I mean, KOC is going to do a great job. So, it's going to be fun.
And then next up on the list, David Njoku signs 1 for 8 with the Chargers. This one made a ton of sense just when you think about their tight end depth room. I know they signed Charlie Kohler, but you get into someone like Aronde Getson, who isn't really an inline blocker, and the rest of their room was made up of UDFAs. So they went into the draft, I think, pointing out tight end as a need, and the tight end run happens in the second round. They have other needs that need to be addressed, such as guard and such as edge rusher. And so they wait. They get someone like Njoku. I know, Ryan, you really enjoy what Njoku brought to the Browns offense. What do you think he provides to the Chargers?
It's another fun option for, a good quarterback. I think, he's got a lot of veteran leadership as well, but he'll bring a lot to that offense as a pass catcher. And I think, I'll still stand on it. I think it sucks that he's not a Brown for life. I believe that he, should have been. But, for the Chargers, this is an absolutely, great get on the market. And that's another one that I'm surprised lasted as long as he did. So, big on Njoku. I would hope that he returns to Cleveland at some point in time and signs like a one-day contract to retire a Cleveland Brown. But I hope that he gets a pretty competitive team, for once in his career, and or I guess once again. And I hope they make a run. Closeted Chargers fan here, couldn't have ended better on my end. So cool with that.
Yeah, I he's a great player when he's healthy, right? Like that's the big important thing that you have to say, and that's the reason that he's lasted so long on the open market. He's missed about a third of the games over the last 2 years, so it really scares teams off. Because again, he's great when he plays, but how often is he going to play? It forces team to be reluctant to pay this guy big money on a long-term contract. So I think it was a good 1-year signing for the Chargers. And then hopefully, over the course of the year, Gatson can really develop into what they want, and they don't have to worry about this issue next year, and David can stay healthy and he can get a more long-term deal next year as well. But I thought it was a good value signing for the Chargers.
And then the final two, we'll lump them together because they're basically the same thing. Breece Hall signs an extension with the Jets, 3 for $45, and Devon Achane signs a 4 for $68 extension with Miami. I'll take this one. Who else are they going to pay, guys? Like, I think we can get into the whole argument of paying a running back, blah, blah, blah. The Dolphins, even after this season, paying $180 million in dead cap. They have $152 million in active cap space next season. The Jets have over $115 million on over the cap. So you just think about, again, I think these are teams in positions with relatively cheap quarterback play. The Jets likely get on a rookie scale deal. Malik Willis is basically in the mid-tier quarterback contract. You just need weapons to surround with that offense, and I think those guys are better to be around at this price than just like a third-round pick. I think that the big thing with Breece is like, oh, let's just trade him at the deadline for a third-round pick. We're trading everybody else, but it's like, wouldn't you kind of want to microwave an offense first before the defense? But yeah, did you guys have any additional thoughts on this?
No, yeah, I think both of them are good. You don't let good players walk out the door. I was a little shocked that Breece ended up staying because it just sounded as a stretch of, the final couple games of the season went, especially post trade deadline. He was very much just like, I do not want to be here. But at the end of the day, money talks. And if you can get paid as hefty as he did, I don't think he really cares. So again, good players getting paid good money to stay where they're at makes complete sense.
I think when you look at it from Breece's perspective as well, it's like, he's had a pretty rough injury, and if he were to hit the open market, that's going to be discussed amongst other GMs that are going to offer him. So, maybe this was to capitalize on the opportunity now and not lose out on money later. Don't hate it from him. Achane was just like you said, money talks. So
yeah,
Breece Hall is still only 25. I think there's still just so much good football in front of him.
Yep.
So
yeah.
But that is all for the news. We swing it over to what we didn't finish last week.
Well, no. Before we do that, let's tell the people we have
we're doing that now. Okay.
We have the schedule release next week that we will be talking about, and Matt's got a pretty awesome idea for us that we're gonna capitalize on. Matt, what are we doing next week?
everybody loves drafts, right? So I think the best way to talk about these games without going like week by week like we did last year, I think drafting these games and kind of picking out the games that we want to, kind of focus on and what games we believe are maybe under the radar or the games to watch or the games to look out for. I think this is the best way to do it. And so that's what we'll be doing. Some rules to it. Are we settling on no division games? We can kind of.
I would say if you guys are cool with it, but yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, because there's a certain division game that would be my 1-1. So just making that clear. But and then the other part of it is that once you use a team, you can't use them again. So I just can't flood my board with my Packers. You know what I'm saying? Like I just can't flood the board with Jordan Love games. So like once you use a team, you can't use them again. I think it makes a ton of sense to do it that way, so we can just continue to throw it all around the league and talk about a ton of these different teams and what they project in specific matchups. So I thought that was
give you guys something to look forward to before we, go ahead and start our main attraction for today. Should be fun. You only get to hear me talk about the Bears for a little bit next week, so more than likely. But anywho, let's go ahead and talk about our off-season losers. Can I start? I've been like really excited about and I think you guys already should know.
Say the Packers.
Yeah, I am. I am, to nobody's surprise. The Packers. I really feel like, and I'm trying to look at this from a football fan's perspective, right, and see, did this team improve? And I genuinely don't think so. I genuinely don't. Their key subtractions consisted of Romeo Doubs, Rashad Gary, Quay Walker, Dontavion Wicks, Elgton Jenkins, Rasheed Walker, Emmanuel Wilson, Malik Willis, and Kingsley Enagbare. Now, I will give them their flowers. I believe they had a pretty decent draft, like a B grade. You know what I mean? Pretty solid. And their key additions for the offseason, Javon Hargrave, Sky Moore, Zaire Franklin, Brandon Siss, and Dennis. I'm sorry, I'm gonna mispronounce the name. Dennis Sutton. I think I got that right. So, the additions, I would say, yes, they help a little bit. I'm not as big on Hargrave and Franklin and Siss, and Siss didn't do too much for me, but DDS is the big get for my opinion when it comes to the draft. So, but when you look at the subtractions and overall big picture, I think that they got older slightly. I just keep looking at this offense, and I really feel like they got weaker on the offensive side. And that was one thing to where like they really couldn't afford to get much weaker. They're really pushing in the chips on Christian Watson. And what is it? I think he hasn't surpassed 900 yards in his career because of his injury history. So it's like in a franchise standpoint, and maybe one of you could play devil's advocate and try and convince me, but it's going to be a tall task. I mean, what makes you look at that guy? Because they paid him, if I remember correctly. What makes you look at that guy and think like, I want you as one of my cornerstone receivers alongside the guy that I drafted in the first round. You know what I mean? Like, Golden didn't score his first touchdown until the playoffs. And yes, it mattered. You know what I mean? But my thing is like, you would have hoped to get this guy a little bit more action in the first year before you just go ahead and pull the trigger and be like, this is a guy that I want to have as a main weapon for my quarterback that, is above average. So, I think it's genuinely like a shock to me how much movement they made. with all the subtractions, and obviously I understand it, but you know, these are a lot of big names, and I understand, like, yes, I put Malik Willis as a key subtraction. Like, he played good when Jordan Love misses time. And, like, I'm not going to say that he competes for a starting job in Green Bay. So, like, but I would say that it's at least worth noting that there's a good presence as a backup that isn't going to be available anymore in Green Bay. So it's interesting. But again, I feel like they got worse and took a step back.
I think the big thing with the Packers, and I absolutely understand why you see that. The Packers went into this offseason, though, and they said, well, we don't really have a whole lot of money over the next couple years. So what can we do to clear some of this up, give us some ability to maneuver in future years? And that's kind of what they did. They're eating some dead cap money this year. I mean, the two most being Gary and Kenny Clark, ironically enough. But again, their big thing is they're just like, how can we clear money to give us flexibility moving in the future? And that's what they did. I think they accomplished that. And I think they're not super worried about the offensive pass catchers because they saw what Christian Watson added to this offense when he came back. And I think it is really hard to have any firm opinion on Golden at all because he looked good when he came back. Of course, the season stats aren't going to look great when he missed games due to a whole bunch of injuries and whatnot. But again, I think the big thing is they have confidence in Watson. They have confidence in Golden. So they felt okay moving off of those other wide receivers. I think we're nitpicking a little bit with the Malik Willis thing, or do we want him to pay Malik Willis, $20 million a year? No.
I think it's at least worth noting, though. You know what I mean? Like he performed well, but no, you weren't going to pay this guy. Like, no,
Yeah.
I get it. I'm just saying, this is somebody that left, and I think it's worth noting. You know what I mean? It's not just, well, let me just throw this in to make them look even worse. Like, no, this is genuinely somebody I feel like was a strength at one point in time because you'd have the security of this is a guy that plays well when my starting quarterback who plays better is out. And
I wonder how much of that is the system in the coaching staff, though, because no one thought that about him before he came here, and they were able to develop him into a good quarterback. I digress. We could talk about him forever. But again, I do agree there are some pieces that they're missing now. So I see what you're saying. Absolutely. I'm just saying, I think they went into this offseason hoping to create future year flexibility. And I think they achieved that.
Matt, what do you got on this?
Yeah, I mean, I think that for the most part, the Dobbs thing was always going to happen. The Rasheed Walker thing was always going to happen with the way they draft, Jordan Morgan, Anthony Belton over the past few years along the offensive line. And then, of course, Malik Willis spending time on that. Like, you're just not going to pay a backup quarterback $20 million. It's just not going to happen.
No.
But for the most part, I think it's what they continue to do. They continue to draft and develop. They believe in their system. They believe in these guys are going to produce at some point in their careers, and then we don't have to pay them market value. You get, I think that's, and you think about, they've already done the whole, spending on big free agents a few years ago in McKinney and Josh Jacobs. So it's I don't think there was anything on the market that they were looking to do in terms of a splash. But again, you spent a first-round pick on Golden. So I think that makes you believe that we should let someone like Dobbs go. He's not. And then Watson, when he's healthy, he's the most explosive element of their offense. And then they gave Jaden Reed the extension. So clearly they value his flexibility even more than someone like Dobbs. So it's for the most part, I think they're just they're kind of like, I overrated them last year. When they got Parsons, I think I put them into a tier that, again, they continue to just not be in, and that's like one of the 4 to 5 best teams. But I look at this roster, and if some of the defensive linemen, like if Hargrave can go back to what he was at one point with Philadelphia, maybe not the peak, but just be a plus sack getter and beat Kenny Clark, like truly beat Kenny Clark.
Yeah.
I think, again, they're going to be in that, 7, 8, 9 range again going into power ranking season. Like I think they're, but maybe your holdback is they didn't vault into the top 4 with someone like Love on this deal and Parsons, making the big deal. So
It's just not the same. You said it. It's not the same team as it was last year. Like we all, looked at the Packers, whether I said it or not. I feel like you guys knew that I knew that the Packers were good enough to go and make a run last year with Parsons. And, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what they do, specifically in the first, I would say 4 to 5 weeks, given that, Parsons tore his ACL in December, and I wouldn't expect them to just be like, oh, it's been 9 months. Well, buddy, it's time to get in there. Like, they're going to ramp him up, and, he'll be on a snap count, I would say probably until, late September, early October. So, like, these first few weeks matter, and I think their depth matters as well. And that's another key point that I'm not seeing it on this team. But like you said, I mean, they do draft and develop very well. I mean, we'll see how it pans out, but they lost a lot of talent, and that's what I wanted to hit on. So there's my
but they
first
get
thing.
it replenished through like compensatory picks. I know that's not the sexiest thing to say, but like 2 4s, a 5, and a 7, like for the guys out the door, like replaceable players. Like Dobbs is a replaceable player. Rasheed Walker is a replaceable player with like a first-round pick. So I think there's just, again, it's what they do. It's similar to what Baltimore does. Like this is kind of the way they operate.
I'm interested to see how their secondary is this year too, by the way, because that was a massive problem. And like and I really don't think they moved the needle in that area either. This offseason. So I'm interested to see how that works, especially since the lack of pressure in the first, almost half of the season. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah. Ben, you were gonna say something. I apologize.
Yeah, no, you're good. I was gonna say the big thing with the Baltimore of it all, comparing it to Baltimore, is like it is what Baltimore does, but like Baltimore hasn't even necessarily found the success that they would have wanted from the comp game. The big thing is you can talk yourself into the comp picks that you're gonna get for these players, but you have to actually be able to draft and get return on investment from those comp picks. But in theory, the theory is definitely there, and you can at least in writing understand what they are trying to do.
Yeah. Who wants to go next?
I can go next. It's for me, there were like 2 big losers. I'm gonna start with the team that I've just like hated since the entire process has went on, and that's the Bills. And that like starts like from the organizational level, like from the get-go. Obviously, when it happened, I thought it was a bad move. I still think it's a bad move, and now it's compounded on the other stuff. Their offseason started with firing Sean McDermott and keeping Brandon Beane. Everyone said, wow, this was awful. They got rid of Sean McDermott because all of the dysfunction, and this didn't really work. And the press conference, they were just like basically shitting on players that were still in the building. Brandon Beane was always the issue. Everyone knew that, but somehow he won the power struggle. And again, the main reason they fired Sean McDermott was because of like internal issues, but then they turned around and hired a guy that was already a part of the coaching staff that you just trashed. I don't know. So it starts from like up top on the organization level, but then it just moves deeper. They just didn't do anything that like impressed me at all. Like your big substantial move on defense is Bradley Chubb, which does not move me at this point in his career. And then like we can clamor about like, hey, we need to get Josh Allen weapons, and you did. And it's like this double entendre because you're like, well, Josh Allen really needs to get these weapons, but you also need to be able to get these weapons on a good value. And paying the 60th overall draft pick for DJ Moore was arguably one of the worst moves made in free agency the entire year.
Appreciate it, though.
Yeah, exactly. So on an organizational level, I thought it was just grossly mishandled. There's malpractice everywhere. And then your big move was just a gross overspend. And then you didn't do anything really on the defensive side of the football that moved me. So all of this just combines into an offseason that just I think is an overall loss for me. And I'm just scared that it's just going to be the same thing on repeat again and again and again and again for the Bills. And who knows? Maybe I'm not valuing, DJ Moore enough. And again, I'm speaking two sides out here when I'm saying we need to get Josh Allen weapons, but no, we can't pay a 60th overall pick for DJ Moore. So I understand I'm kind of contradicting myself here. But you just have to make sure you get the right value moves, and that just wasn't. So again, this all ties together into an offseason that I just really hated. And again, a lot of that's just from the organizational level.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited about the Bills, to be honest with you.
But what did they do? What did they do in the off season that made you more excited than what you had seen this past year?
I'm gonna give you one guess, and it's just because of I like Josh Allen, I like DJ Moore, and yeah, that's the one.
Oh yeah, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. He's the needle mover for our defense.
I genuinely, I'm thinking of it from purely a fan's perspective. I'm not analyzing this team. I haven't looked into it.
And again, we can be happy, and the Bills are going to be the same thing that they have been because at the end of the day, Josh Allen is your quarterback. But again, if we're talking about strictly what had occurred from the point of the season ending up into this point, it has just been a lot of tragic moves. And again, at the end of the day, you can step back and say, well, you have Josh Allen, so it doesn't really matter. Sure, but that's not the premise. The premise is what offseason moves did we like and did not like? And the Bills just made a litany of offseason moves that I thought were not good. I'll give you TJ Parker. Getting TJ Parker where you did was good. But that was the only one where I'm like, good job, guys. So
yeah. For the most part, I really like their draft. Personally, so that skews it a little bit, the way they maneuvered the draft after trading the 60th overall pick. But it's a bet. It's a bet on DJ Moore being a 1,300-yard receiver again, and kind of anchoring this offense. Because you think about DJ Moore's skill set, I think he's the perfect tie-in to what this offense kind of needs. Again, do we know anything about Josh Palmer? Is that anything? I don't know. But he's going to be your receiver 3, right? But for the most part, in terms of the value signings, I thought they did pretty well. I thought Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is worth the swing at $2 million. Mike Dana is worth the swing at what he's paid. Overall, they've remade the entire secondary with Jim Leonard, who they brought in. That I think that's the other bet is that Jim Leonard is better at this than Sean McDermott, and so
that's a hope.
Maybe. That's so him taking them to the next level. Look at the secondary moves, the amount of just new players they brought in, and all of them outside of Igbinosun have inside outside flexibility to me. So really fascinated to see what the secondary does, because again, the only pick I didn't like was TJ Parker. I would prefer, over drafting Cassius Howell or R. Mason Thomas just because he's different than Chubb and Rousseau. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Just get a NASCAR guy. But they stick to their guns, and TJ Parker's a better prospect, so I can't fault them too much on it. It's just my own personal preference, make it look a little different. But overall, Buffalo early in the process, I was with you, but seeing it all pieced together, they have a ton of new players. And so it's all dependent on if those new players work or don't. And if they don't, then obviously it's not going to work.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's where the difference is I don't know if I have much confidence in our defense getting changed around by a whole bunch of guys that we signed to 1 year, and $3 million contracts. And now if they hit, I mean, shoot, now we're cooking with gasoline.
The thing is like they were able to make the divisional round with like Brandon Cooks being a volume target and Tre'Davious White playing a ton of outside corner snaps. So like if we can just get there again to where we're not like hell bent on playing our CB6 in the divisional round, like I again, it's really awkward to talk about the contenders with quarterbacks because they just need to be in the dance, and Josh Allen's one of the guys that, like, one of these years he's going to get it right? Like, that's what we all keep saying, but Philip Rivers of our generation, so it's a shame.
Yeah. I'm just excited to see DJ, who at one point in time I was like, this guy's awesome. And like,
who at one point in time 3 years ago that we had this conversation
and he started getting frustrating, and that's why it was time to go. But like, Josh Allen, loved to watch that guy play football, and his biggest thing, like over the last couple of years, was like his best receiver is Khalil Shakur. Like something's got to change here. And
he's a side-to-side player. Like he's not even someone you can throw the ball downfield to.
Yeah, so now you have that guy, and you have a guy that could throw him the ball downfield, and I'm excited to see how it goes. Outside of that, what? Oh,
you
shut
said
up.
He gets a guy.
He could. I'm just saying, like, Josh Allen has a guy that he could throw downfield to, and he has the arm to do it.
Yep.
And I don't know. I mean, you saw it last season in Chicago for DJ. Game winner against Green Bay. He can catch the deep balls. He's a very reliable guy in clutch. Like. When he wants to run his routes. So we'll see how that works for Buffalo. But strictly from a fan, like, I like this guy, I like that guy. Let's throw them together in a pot and see what happens. Like, that's why I'm excited. Purely anything else that happened, I don't know. But I'm just like,
Well, and that's what I'm saying. And this is easy for me to bring this point to the table. Because obviously it benefits me by saying this, right? But in a vacuum, if you're any team, take the Josh Allen out of it, right? If you're just any random NFL team, for example, would we be looking at this and saying, yeah, trading the 60th overall pick, a second rounder,
you're so
is
evil for
worth.
that. Like, let's take away their superpower. Let's take away Superman and his laser eyes.
It's easy for me to say.
Spider-Man cannot swing buildings anymore.
But like, if you're just if you're any of like any team in the NFL, would we be saying yes?
I hated
trading a second round
pick the trade sucks.
For DJ Moore is a good value pick? We'd say absolutely not. Trading a second round pick for DJ Moore is not a good idea. And
Poles is a hell of a salesman for that. That was awesome. Listen, we don't want to give him away, but
GM, good for Poles.
I might be swayed if you throw me a second round pick. Like, yeah, good stuff. Matt, your first team.
My first loser, the Chargers. I think when we talk about these teams who are taking leaps into contendership, I think the Chargers are one of those teams that had opportunity to really make swings with their cap space and really push the chips in, and they stayed the same or theoretically got worse. I like what they did along the offensive line. Truly, I think a lot of what they brought in on the offensive line is. I think it's a bet on their new approach where last year everybody died. So let's get a ton of guys who can do multiple things. And Jake Slaughter is drafted in the second round, and he's likely going to play guard. But he can snap the ball. Tyler Biadasz is a good center. Like, is he a great center? No. But is he passable? Yes. They bring in Cole Strange, who's played both guard spots. Joe Alt has now played both tackle spots. Rashawn Slater should be back. Trey Pipkins has played guard for them. They brought him back. Penning has played guard and tackle before. So you just think about a ton of guys who, again, are they good? I don't know. But they've played a ton of football, and they've played multiple positions. So I think there's they're accounting for, we're going to lose 2 guys during the middle of the season. Can we
Yeah.
just piece this together throughout the season? I like that front. The defense, I hate that they didn't do anything. Like, no needle movers. They made no needle mover move, and they lost one. Like, I think when you talk about top 10 defenses, these teams have their own superpowers. Myles Garrett is the Browns' superpower. And you think about, like, Parsons with the Packers. The Chargers' superpower was Jesse Minter. And going from Jesse Minter to Chris O'Leary, who I don't know if you guys know much about Chris O'Leary, but he's called plays one time in his history, and it was at Central Michigan last year. So again, you just think about that step, going from, hey, you won the MAC, to calling defensive plays in the NFL. That's a massive jump. And you think about the defensive roster, it's a lot of, like, fine players, but there's no, like, Derwin James isn't what Derwin James was a few years ago. Khalil Mack is another year older. Like, can we really bank on Khalil Mack playing 17 games and getting, like, 12 sacks? No. Do they think Tuipulotu, I can't pronounce that. I've tried for years. Is going to take the step up, like what Oweh was for them. Like, because they let Oweh walk. They could have re-signed him. They didn't. And I think there's an expectation that he's just going to step in and be as productive as Oweh. Oweh was, from the minute he got there, was like 40 pressure, 10 sack guy. So that's really hard to project. And their one big needle move was drafting Mesidor, who, again, I'm not a fan of, but besides the point, if that was an edge rusher I did like, you're still dropping in a rookie and putting expectations that he's going to be productive in year one. And I just think that's that makes you hold on to your seat. Like, I think there was with Jesse Minter, there was no chance in hell they were ever going to be in, like, the bottom half of the league in, like, EPA or DVOA or things like that. With O'Leary and the roster stacked against them, this could go back to, like, where Staley was, like, bottom 10, right? Like, the corners are still Tarheeb Still and Cam Hart, who are Tony Jefferson is 39 years old playing for, I don't know how old he is, but he's still, like, a starting safety logged for them. And Tiger Tart, who they extended, is a year-over-year player. There were opportunities to make moves. You know how I know that? They still have $45 million in cap space. So, like, there was an opportunity if they wanted to really continue to push into contendership, and they didn't. And I'm not a fan of that. Like, they're still the 7 seed to me. They're still the Justin Herbert and a bunch of dudes to me.
No, I first off, I think Tui, I don't know what it is about Tui, but Tui gets me jacked. Like, I've been saying it for, like, I think I said it going into, like, last year. I'm like, Tui's gonna make a jump. He didn't, but, like, I'm confident that he could hopefully make that jump this year. But I agree. I mean, the Chargers were one of my teams too, but it was funny because they were one of my teams for, like, what they did on the pass catcher side of it. Like, they're just allergic to getting any pass catchers that are, like, actually good for Justin Herbert. So, like, I second, like, everything that you said on the defensive side of the football. And then you add that, like, their big move in terms of, like, offensive pass catchers was David Njoku, who we just talked about, who, like, there was a reason that he's been sitting on the market for as long as he has. And then, like, okay, we got Charlie Kohler, who's been a third-string tight end his entire career. And then, like, I guess we get Brendan Thompson in the 4th. Like, he's a good scheme fit, but we're really banking on this 4th-round guy to come in.
So here's my rebuttal to that, and then I'll let you. Like, I think it's belief in Hampton being an every down pass catcher and Trey Harris. I think it's past bets, and that's why they don't make picks this year. You know what I'm saying? Like, I
hope so.
That's
but,
my
like,
argument.
This would have been a perfect team. Go out and pay Juwan Jennings $9 million and 14, guaranteed, right? Like, it's just this team just perennially has not been able to get Justin Herbert a veteran pass catcher. And they still continue to do that, like one of substance, right? Forever. And that in every year we keep saying, well, dang, he has no one. And then it's like, okay, he has Ladd McConkey now, but now it's Ladd McConkey and no one. So I agree with you on the Chargers. There's just their defense doesn't move me. I would have really liked for them to use some of that cap space to get another pass catcher. I think the hope is like, okay, we just hired this offensive savant. Maybe he can come in and fix it and really make Herbert shine. But like at the end of the day, if he does that, well, now he's out after a year and he's going to be a head coach, and he probably will be anyways. But like, go and get some weapons, go and fix your defense. I don't think you did either of that. As you said, the Chargers were one of my 3 teams that made my list, so I'm right there with you.
The other thing too is like Dexter Lawrence got traded. You know, like there were opportunities to get one of those guys. Like I know it's in the division, but like Max Crosby was traded for 2 first-round picks. I know everybody says there's no way they do it, but I think the Raiders would love having the 22nd overall pick this year. So it's like, absolutely. I think there were opportunities to, hey, we're losing a needle mover in Jesse Minter, our play caller. Let's kind of backfill it with an actual player on the football field and really push the chips in while we have McDaniel in this limited time frame that we expect. And they just kind of stayed the course, right? They just kind of stayed the same. And I don't know. I still see them as the 3rd team in the division, right? Like they're still, that's what they are going to continue to be.
Yep.
My next team, I'm just going to hit it kind of short. The Cardinals were my next team.
Yeah, they were on my list.
This was bad. Key subtractions: Kyler Murray. Nobody else worth noting because it's like they were bad to begin with. Rookies that I didn't think moved the needle. Literally their entire draft class, other than Jeremiah Love. You remember last year when we talked about the Raiders and we're like, this is not a team that's in a position to be taking a running back this good. Like, it's good for them that they got the guy. You know what I mean? But the best like comparison that I could, that I read about this was like maybe he'll have like a Saquon Barkley first few years to where he starts off on a really awful team, but he's like really good. And like, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty, that's it.
The biggest win for the Cardinals this season is if Jeremiah Love's top 10 in jersey sales.
Yeah, but like they swear up and down that they're like, we're not going to be using him every down. It's like, yeah, because one of your key additions, actually, in my notes verbatim, I put key additions. Tyler Algier, I guess.
Sam Aller is a good player.
So, I mean, yeah, but I'm just sitting here thinking, like, I don't like the Algier signing anymore, but like, it's just weird because now, I mean, you extended Connor, just last season, you signed Algier, and then it's like, we'll take BPA. Like, that doesn't make sense. What you're doing doesn't make sense. And like next year, I'm sure they're going to be just fine in the draft order. Like, congratulations, you clinched a top 5 pick because their schedule is ridiculous. Like, I don't care what order these games are played in, and we'll figure that out tomorrow. But like their opponents are god awful. It's a gauntlet. So it's like, for the Cardinals to even think about competing against any of these teams with the roster that they have and the minimal, improvements that they made, if any, I mean, and then you'll have the punch in the face that Kyler Murray's balling out with KOC in Minnesota. Like, you know what I mean? Like, as if it couldn't get any worse. Like, the guy just gives up Call of Duty for 1 year and like just locks in. Like, like this is the reality that the Cardinals are going to have to face. They're going to have an awesome running back, but like other than that, kind of smelly. I don't know. You said that they were on your list though, Matt. What else you got for me?
Carson Beck at 65 might be the worst draft pick I've ever seen. personally. For someone who I had an almost UDFA grade on, for him to be picked at the top of the third round, where you can find a starter, or you could take a swing on Drew Aller, or you could wait until the fifth round and take a swing on Taylon Green while you're not even in any world where you're trying to compete. I don't like. Well, best case scenario is a good backup. Yeah, at 65, great, dude. That's awesome. And I just
What an
I don't
investment.
I don't see any path to him starting. And if he's starting, then they're 0-11, and they're just just go out there, just do something. I hate that pick. I hate the Jeremiah Love pick because you just think of it let me read off the only running backs who are making more than him at the position this season. He's not played a down of football yet, by the way. Jonathan Taylor, Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker, Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley. That's it. And Jahmyr Gibbs got his option picked up, so he'll make more next year. That's it. And he's never played a down of football for a team that we're looking at that's going to be 32 on power ranking charts, right? My big thing, it makes no sense. But when you think about the offseason they just went through, why didn't we just keep Jonathan Gannon and Kyler Murray and try this one more time, right?
Yeah.
What's the worst case scenario? Oh, we crash and we're the third overall pick again. Oh, then you can reset. I just think they did a lot of. There's a lot of moving parts for the sake of moving parts, like the Isaac Seumalo contract. He's a 30-year-old guard, and you're on a timeline that you're gonna suck for 2 years, right? So, you're gonna get good football out of him for a team that's winning 5 games. So it's if he starts over Basontis, that's a major problem to me. I assume they both play, but yeah, they were a team that I couldn't get there with the draft, especially with you had a golden opportunity to trade down. Even if the trade value isn't perfect, still go down. Still get out of that pick. I just don't see the vision with taking Jeremiah Love to be a guy that, again, best case scenario is selling good jerseys. And I loved their draft last year. I think Walter Nolan's going to be a good player.
Yeah. Yeah. The Cardinals just, again, a lot of moves that didn't make a whole lot of sense, right? So, my second team for me is the Jaguars, and it's because, and pardon my language here, it's because they flat out didn't do shit. They didn't do anything, and that's why the Jaguars make this list, right? Really the only thing that they went out and did in the free agency portion of the offseason was re-sign Montrick Brown to 3 years, $33 million, which is fine. He's a fine cornerback, but that even seems a little bit too much to be giving out to him, and he's good. And that's it. That's all they did in free agency. And then you turn around and their draft was just not good. Their favorite pick I made was Pragnon in the third round. I think excellent value there. And then the rest of their draft is them just reaching on guys that they could have just gotten back later. The second best pick, I think, in this class was Josh Cameron at pick 191. It just didn't make any sense to me. If you were in love with Nate Borcher, you could have probably gotten him in the third or fourth round at this point.
So I think
know
the Rams would have taken him. Rams
Oh,
took
yeah.
Max Blair. I think, and Borkacher's a traditional
Max
blocking
Clare's a
tight end.
better tight end.
He's not a better blocker. So it's
my thing is,
know what I'm
if you
saying?
wanted a blocking tight end, you could have got a blocking tight end later. You could have went out and you could have got Sam Roush. Ask Ryan how he feels about Sam Roush, right?
But Roush
there's-
was 11 picks later, right? So it's I just
But that's what I'm saying. You could.
I think we knew
trade
the
down
run
and
was
you
going to
could've
happen.
just done-
I'm excited we could talk about this, the tight end run, because this was a major point of contention.
It was wild. They came off the board in fashions that
I
no
think
one expected.
it's very
Marvin Klein went way earlier than what people expect. It was a very weird run on tight ends. I do think it's because the shifting value of 12 personnel and even 13 personnel and the value of well, we don't want to run in jumbo package and have a 6 offensive lineman because that's telling.
Well,
so we can just run.
And it's
But-
to this point of, for me, like, this is another, like, conflicting thing. If Borkacher is the best blocker, and that's, like, 50% of the tight end's job, he should be overdrafted, right? Like, this is to my point of, like, Darnell Washington is a free agent this year. Should he be paid as a top 10 tight end in football just because of his blocking value? You know what I'm saying? Like, because it is such a vital part of the position now, this is going to happen now. Like, it's
No, and I understand that, but me and you even did the tight end stuff, right? And if you wanted a blocking tight end, I feel like you could have gotten a blocking tight end even later in the class. Maybe you were just absolutely enthralled with him, and sure, you went out and got your guy, but I feel like you could have gotten a blocking tight end in the 3rd round if you wanted, or in the 4th round. And I understand that it was a run, and they were the team that
Pregnon.
like
if you swap him, if Pregnon
catapulted
is
that.
50 and Borkacher's 80, like, are we throwing a fit? No, that's my argument.
Still, I think we are giving a team the props for making, like, and again, that was one good draft pick. Like, even the rest, as I said, I think like the second best draft pick they made in this entire class was Josh Cameron in the 6th round. So you didn't do anything in free agency, and in your draft, I think it was a whole bunch of guys that didn't move me at all. So even if we swap them, I'm gonna give you a pat on your back and still say, okay, now you don't have a D class, now you have a C- class, because still the only player of value that I think you added, and maybe I'm gonna be wrong about Nate, and maybe Nate steps in and is great for them and is everything that they hope and pray to be. But if we flip them, I would still be looking at this class and saying, wow, the only player of substance you got was Pregnon at pick 56. And I still probably would be here talking about how bad this offseason was simply because you didn't do anything.
So
I'd prefer for them to at least go out and overpay. Go and pay it the 60th of the overall pick for DJ Moore rather than sit here and not do anything.
Okay. So that's that. No. No.
Obviously
chance.
not.
They
obviously
traded
not.
for.
I know. Obviously not actually DJ Moore, but
Their
I'm talking
free agent
about the
signing
premise.
was Jacoby Myers at the deadline. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like that was their move, and it clearly worked.
I'm talking about the premise. Obviously, I'm not talking about DJ Moore. I'm just saying I'd much prefer you to go out and at least overpay on someone to say, hey, at least we're trying, than sit out here and do absolutely nothing. Because they didn't. Because it was Montrick Brown, and that was it.
I think it's similar to, like, I think they just know it was a lot of fool's gold in 13 wins, and I think they're still pretty far away. Like, I think they're taking a step back and saying we're not as close as the record says we are. Personally, that's my only argument.
Which I
with the
agree.
Jags, like, not doing anything.
Did they do anything to get them any closer than what they had already done before?
No, and I don't think there was anything on the table that they were going, like, available for him. Like, if they matched the ETN deal, like, is that a good thing? No. You know what I'm saying? I think the only crippling is, like, losing Devin Lloyd, but again, like, you're paying the linebacker, right? So
I'd much prefer pay the linebacker than do nothing. I mean, we had the Devin Lloyd.
I think that's the argument. I think that's your point.
episode.
Like, they did nothing, right? They kind of stayed
Yeah.
the same. But I mean, they extended Walker, they extended Jacoby Myers. Like, I feel like they did the things that needed to be done, is my only argument. And I think there's a lot of stink on Borkacher at 56 when, if the Rams draft him at 61, I think people are probably like, well, he's a good blocker and he'll fit right in with the Rams offense, like McVay. You know what I'm saying? Like, I
if the
believe
Rams
Cohen
drafted
is
him,
right under
I still probably would have shat on him simply because I hate the Rams. I don't want to do the Rams at all because I think it was so dumb that they drafted Max Clare anyways. I mean, what are we doing, running a 14 personnel or something? I don't want to get into the Rams
free
at
agents.
all.
That's a different thing. But I think that's my argument is we do this all the time where it's like, well, you could have waited on the player. No, nobody knows anything. Like, nobody knows truly anything in terms
My
of
thing-
like, we
when-
could have waited later. Like, you know,
When I'm saying weighted on the player, I'm not even necessarily saying weighted specifically for Nate. I'm just talking about blocking tight end. Like there were guys even available on round 4 that I think the value I'd prefer over a guy here in round 2. But we see, this is fun, right? This is what the offseason is all about. These fun little debates here. But to your point is
Cac Merrick went 87. Like, you know, that's the pick before Pregnon. That's Mr. blocking tight end. So I don't think they would have gotten one at 88. So that's my point.
Sure.
Matt, was the Cardinals your second team?
I have Kansas City also on my list because again, just not. I understand what they're doing. They want more juice on the defensive end, and they're backfilling someone as talented as Trent McDuffie. Okay. We didn't do like one thing in the receiver room of substance. Like we just again, and like Cyrus Allen is a fine player in the 5th round. Like it's very similar to the Jalen Royals thing, who I liked last year. It's gonna take some time, right? I don't think either of those guys are stepping in. Like your receiver room, it's the same thing. It's a ton of skinny separators who don't really do much down the field. Like Tyquan Thornton was good for the first like 4-ish weeks. Xavier Worthy has really struggled with contact in this league, and Rashee Rice is a ticking time bomb off the field. Like it was so bad that I think people speculated, hey, maybe they cut him, right? But overall, like I think their big swing is, hey, we traded it, like we signed Kenneth Walker, and he's going to provide an explosiveness through the ground game. The offensive line is still pretty good, and that'll open up everybody else. But I just keep imagining a guy coming off a torn ACL, like 3rd and 7 in Buffalo with these receivers. You're trying to win a Super Bowl every time Patrick Mahomes is on the field. And I don't think they did everything in their power to maximize that ability. And I know they don't have a lot of resources, but they used every
Thank
single
God.
resource on
all I gotta
the
say.
defensive end. They're still going to be there, dude. You know, like, that's the thing. That's what's funny about it is, like, we can rag on them. Like, they're still going to win 10 games, right? Like, I feel like last year's like the Bizarro of the 15-win season, you know?
I mean, yeah, it's we talked about it, and I mean, I kind of spoke my piece on it when we were doing the post draft show. So not gonna hit on it too much. I just not a fan, clearly, to nobody's surprise.
I wonder how good how good these rookies are, because those 4 players fit really well together, in my opinion. Like Delane, Kennedy in the secondary with Woods and R. Mason Thomas rushing the passer specifically. I'm interested in seeing if it works out, but again, I would have loved to see Denzel Boston in this instead of Peter Woods. Like that's kind of the argument. Like I really wanted to see them go against the grain, go after like Jawan Jennings, go after a receiver who on 3rd down can like ball win, can actually go up and at the catch point win the routes. And I just don't think they have any player that can do that still. Oh, by the way, Travis Kelce's another year older, and we're relying on him to be like a volume catcher. Don't love it.
Yeah, not good, because we've seen like clear regression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I believe that wraps it up for our hating for the week. What's
Constructive
the
criticism.
music?
I don't like saying hating.
I do. I think it's
Constructive
funny.
criticism. Jags, my constructive criticism is you could have took Riley Nowakowski in the 4th round. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
I don't want to harp on
Yeah.
that.
My constructive criticism for the Cardinals is maybe don't do that.
I knew that was gonna get a reaction out of you, Matt. I had to say it. Anyways.
All right. So Matt, you wanted to bring back a certain segment. Why don't you tell the people what we're doing today?
We're bringing back Weddle.
You want to pull it up?
Yeah.
Oh,
Should we
it's been so
restart the
long since
record
we-
because I completely lost.
I don't
Oh,
care about
brother,
that.
absolutely. Yeah, he doesn't care about the record because I whooped his ass last time. I was leading by
I don't know what you're talking about.
5 or 10 or something. That's what it was.
There we go. All right. We're what? If we do have to explain the rules again?
No. If you guys don't know what Weddle is at this point,
We help each other on easy, and then we compete on hard.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. Who wants to guess someone first?
I'll start with AJ Brown.
Oh my goodness. Not a receiver. This can only be skill positions, by the way.
Okay. Number 11. So it's lower than that. I'm even more rusty than I was before. AFC.
Drake May.
Yeah.
Got it.
Nice.
Hey, I wasn't too far off in theory, right?
All right. Who's
I'll start
the,
us. I'll start
is
us.
Dexter?
Ryan
Devon
starts
Dexter.
from the top.
Nope.
How electric would that have been if it was the first one?
Pissed.
Okay, it's a
So
young
mad.
player. It's good. It's good for us. It's a young.
I always hate Dexter because he's 99 and he's 6'6", so there's like nothing you can get from that.
Man, gift wrap this to me.
So he's in the AFC. He's on the offense. He's a younger player. Let's go Worthy. Oh.
Okay.
What is he,
AFC
22?
wide receiver 23 or 24. AFC West. Not really giving me a whole lot with the height here, guys.
I think I have it.
Give me Jalen Waddle. But I think he's too short. Yeah.
Oh, they still have him in Miami.
Oh, what the?
Whoa.
Slacking.
I know who it is now.
But he is
I know who it is
smaller,
now.
so like
Yeah. I thought he was 6 feet, not 5'10".
I want to go with what was his name? Betch from Vegas. Okay. Is it Betch or Beck?
Bedge.
Okay.
I did not have it.
Oh.
So it is a Charger guy.
Okay. This is Charger. Trey Harris.
Yep. No. Yep.
Right.
Good shit. Good
Nice.
job. Good job.
That was fun. You guys helped me out
turn.
there. I was deciding between Trey Harris or one of my guys. You know, the official my guy.
Yeah.
But, hey, it
Betch
worked
was
out.
only a
I got the
poll
wrong
because I was
rookie
just looking at the
receiver
Raiders.
in the AFC West.
Yeah. You did. Yeah.
All right. Well, I believe that'll do it for us this week. Again, stay tuned for the scheduled release. Things are coming out like as we speak, as far as leaks for the schedule. Lots of fun games to talk about next week. I'm really looking forward to it. Again, just to repeat what I had tweeted out on our Twitter, tomorrow night is when it will be officially put out by teams, and the schedules will be released. So lots of fun to be had. So next week, schedule release, draft. Lots of, I don't know. I'm excited for that. That's a cool idea. I really appreciate you bringing that to the table, Matt. But without any further ado, I'll start with Ben this time. Ben, any closing comments?
Oh, geez. I don't know if there's much. Guys, I don't know if there's going to be many closing thoughts between now and June 1st.
Y'all
here.
see Stephon Diggs and Cardi B? The hell was that about?
There you go. Did y'all see AJ Brown met with a condo developer? Did you guys see that in Boston? Huh? How about that? That is some breaking news there. Huh?
Are you breaking the news?
I'm not breaking the news. No.
Who's going to be his head coach? I'm just
Who
kidding.
is going
Anyways,
to be his head coach? Jeez. No. Again, I'm eagerly waiting June 1st to see what the return is. Anxiously, I guess, not eagerly. I don't want AJ to go, but I want to make that very clear. Fun episode as always. Excited to get into schedule breakdown with you guys next week.
Yeah. Matt?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing left to add. I think we got through this one pretty good. Talking about the teams.
Got our fastball, hour and 15 minutes in the off season. What can we say?
Look at us.
Who would have thought? I'd like to thank Regional Radio Sports, Uppercuts Grooming, and Spotify for Podcasters for helping us grow as a podcast. And until next week, this has been the Pigskin Project. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.